All right, guys, we made it through our first show. I think we ought to celebrate with a toast. All right.
Should we saber this thing?
Want to smell the cork?
That's
No,
a loaded question.
saber. You open it with a sword.
Yeah.
Oh, saber, not saber.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see.
I heard what he heard.
Saber? Oh.
That might not have been the greatest idea.
I broke the show.
Alright, well, we fixed the show, so hopefully everything will run a little smoother now. Let's start things off with our first topic, the writers walking off of Batwoman in DC Comics. The story is the writers wanted Batwoman to get married. She is a lesbian, if you did not know. And the company said no, so the writers left. This is kind of a awkward thing for DC. Like, they're okay with having homosexual characters, but they don't want anyone to get married. Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, who they decided for Earth 2 was now going to be gay, if you didn't read the comics, was actually about to propose to his boyfriend, and the train they were on derailed, and his boyfriend died in the process, and he became the Green Lantern.
Man, the gays just can't get a break, can they?
No. Klein?
Oh. Well, it's, this is, I think, the fifth or sixth writer, artist, creative team to walk from DC under the current management since the relaunch of in the New 52. A lot of people are saying this is not just, isolated incidences. This is, a lot of people feel that this is editorial.
Do you think it's business, though? I mean, do you think that they're just trying to appeal to the majority and not have, obviously, the whole gay marriage thing is a kind of a 50-50 thing in the nation right now.
It's got huge popularity right now, so in my opinion, if they took up and went with it, they might actually get more of an audience than maybe they had before. And women and men that have children might be like, look at this superhero. That might go to their advantage for sales.
Well, and you get issues where, DC has come out and said that it's not so much the gay part of the gay marriage stuff that they're having trouble with, it's the marriage part. When they relaunched the New 52, they unmarried a whole bunch of superheroes just so they could have those, storylines of dating. And other companies have taken this up. X-Men, North Star married his boyfriend in last year. Archie Comics has a gay character now. And, they're just right up in front with it that, people come up to this guy and they say, oh, you shouldn't be like that. And he's like, why? This is how I am. And, if Archie is cool with having gay characters, I think the DC universe can deal with it. And again, DC's stance is they just don't want to marry off their characters.
Klein, you have something about a fundraising campaign for a new video game, right?
That's right. Keiji Inafune, the creator of Mega Man, and he worked on a number of other games like Onimusha and Dead Rising, has created a Kickstarter for a new game of his that's very much in the spirit of Mega Man. It's the spiritual successor to Mega Man. It's called Mighty Number 9. And it's going to play very much like a Mega Man. You go through stages, jumping and shooting. You beat bosses. And unlike Mega Man, where he shoots a different thing, Mighty Number 9, your character, his whole body changes into a different shape. So he'll turn into like a big hammer, and you'll have a hammer ability or whatnot. They were looking for $900,000, and very quickly, last I checked, it just hit over $2 million. And so, if you love Mega Man, it was a shame what happened to Inafune, because he worked at Capcom for 23 years, and he grew very dissatisfied with the state of game making in Japan. He felt it had gotten stagnant, and he ended up leaving Capcom after, again, over 2 decades last year. And, that was after a few Mega Man projects that the fans were clamoring for got canceled.
Growing up, we all loved playing Mega Man.
Yeah.
When we were a little bit older, Onimusha was a Good series.
Yeah, if you
We
look
like
at the Mega Man art, that's all Inafune. So it looks very similar to what you're used to.
Jen,
Speaking of fans,
what's that?
as some of you may know from the last episode, I am a huge Tim Burton fan. I was working at an airline a few years ago, and someone had told me about the fact that Disneyland in California has Jack Skellington take over the entire Haunted Mansion ride. Ergo, this thing on the table, and I feel it's only appropriate for me to describe the next portion of our discussion with this on, as nerdy as it may be. I'm going to be a Burton fan right now. What, if you are not familiar with what this ride is they have Jack Skellington and the whole Nightmare Before Christmas crew take over the Haunted Mansion. What that means is this ride, there's a movie off of it with Eddie Murphy, but the ride itself is a Disney classic. And this only happens not at Disney World, but at Disneyland in California. It's a ride you go through, and it's actually gotten so popular that they've had to put a fast track to it because all of the mega fans who it's on their bucket list and they have to go, I was there in '08, they have to see it. And the uniqueness of it this year is that not only is it the 20th anniversary of the film Nightmare Before Christmas itself, it's the 13th anniversary of the ride being taken over by Jack. So ironically, it was brought out yesterday on Friday the 13th. So they're running with 13.
Clever.
Yes, and 13 is...
And you're not there.
No, I'm here because I have dedication to the Nerd Show.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Anyways, to make me cry in the corner about not being there for the new event, they went with 13 because normally 13 is being unlucky, but they're making it their lucky 13. And they have 13 new little sideways in it. There's a new gingerbread house that's within the ride, and it came out yesterday on September 13th. Definitely check out the website, and it's really exciting for any Burton fan and anyone that loved the movie in general. I mean, 20 years ago that movie came out. It seems it's been my life, even though it's over 20 years for me, but I love it.
I will take us from Jack Skellington to Jack Sparrow.
All right, I'll put this down.
Just this week, they announced that Jack Sparrow's Pirates of the Caribbean 5, which was slated to be released in summer of 2015, got kicked back a year, 2016. They're not saying exactly why. They've got
Johnny's tired.
or depressed from the Lone Ranger.
Justice is what I seek, Kimosabe.
Some of the speculation is that because the Lone Ranger didn't do so well, and that they went into production with it without having a really good script ready, a clear path of the production, that they don't want to repeat the same debacle. But the good part is that in 2015 in the summer, they just announced the release date, June 12th, 2015, of Jurassic World. That's Jurassic Park 4 in 3D. And if you saw the last episode, you know what a big fan of Jurassic Park in 3D that I am. So I'm really excited about that. There is another trilogy starting in 2015, the J.J. Abrams version of Star Wars also launches in summer of 2015, along with Ant-Man. So 2015 is going to be a really, really great year for nerds.
And Avengers 2.
Oh, and Avengers 2. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really good film year for nerds.
Yeah.
Good year, or those Star Wars nerds get a little crazy with those movies, so it might be a really devastating year.
We'll see what Abrams does with it.
That's true, that's true.
But, like, he's done such good work.
Star Trek was amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see what he does with Star Wars.
If Star Wars can even be close to, like, you know, a little bit of Star Trek, that'd be awesome.
I'm looking forward to all those movies. It should be a really good time.
Agreed, yeah.
Good summer.
So, Jen, we can see you've got a few tattoos there. Why don't you tell us about what you did this week?
Well, this week, I was able to take a tattoo adventure down to the Milwaukee Art Museum and take a look at the Dietzel exhibit. Not everyone knows who Dietzel is. If you want to talk about old school tattoos, you're going to know names like Ed Hardy and Sailor Jerry, all these men that have their images and their names plastered on mass media or purchasing items like booze, shirts, purses, everywhere. And a lot of tattoo nerds have gotten a little bit sick of those names, and it's a little bit too mainstream at this point. But what they cannot deny about it is the fact that they are the names of the old school tattoo. And that being said, with Dietzel, Milwaukee has its own old school tattoo artist. And the Milwaukee Art Museum was able to have an exhibit that displays, they had a tattoo artist that owned some of the collection and donated it for the exhibit. He'll get it back and have everyone kind of go through during Harley Week and through the summer until October to take a look at everything. So having Milwaukee's own Dietzel artists and then knowing the big names, you can kind of tie into your local all-star of old school tattoos to these big names and the comparisons, the differences, and we took a chance to talk to the head curator from Milwaukee Art Museum about the exhibit. I'm here with Brady Roberts, chief curator of the Milwaukee Art Museum tattoo exhibit featuring Dietzel. So was this idea of the tattoo exhibit pitched to you, or was it something that you came up with and decided would be great for while the Harley visitors were here?
This is a show that actually walked in the door. So John Ryder, who owns a local tattoo parlor, came and met with our director Dan Keegan and I a couple years ago, and he showed us all of the flash art that he had collected for years that belonged to Eamon Dietzel. And we love the story and we love the art, and the Harley Festival seemed like the right time to present the exhibition.
Do you personally have a piece of art within the Dietzel collection that is a favorite to you?
I kind of like the whole installation because in an abstract way it kind of recreates the feel of his tattoo parlor. When you get in and you're looking at the flash art, it's a very compressed kind of setting, and you can feel the almost claustrophobic sense of being in there and the kind of the pressure of selecting your tattoo, and it's just a cool experience. Eamon Dietzel was a classic tattoo artist. He was keeping the tradition alive for decades and became the most respected tattoo artist in the Midwest, and all these sailors from Great Lakes Naval Base came up to Milwaukee when they had their leave and would get tattooed by him. So he was just this iconic figure. So I just like the feel of seeing all of these classic tattoo designs in this show.
I noted that besides doing sailors and military personnel, Dietzel in his history has been known for also tattooing carnival folk and sideshow, freak show type of folk. Do you have any cool story or side notes about?
Well, there's kind of a chronological progression to Dietzel. So when he came to the United States, he was first part of a sideshow where he was an exhibit, and he's tattooed from neck to ankle. So when he dressed up in a business suit and he buttoned his collar and had his tie on, he looked like a businessman. He looked very conservative. And then when he opened it up, it's all, you know, the illustrated man. So there's some great photographs of him wearing these kind of crazy velvet pants with cords, gold cords around them, and that's what they wore apparently in the sideshow. So that's how he started. And then as he learned the craft of tattoo, he was also doing tattoos at these carnivals and circuses. So that's how it started. And then he came to Milwaukee and he liked it and he set up shop. And he was also a sign painter, and this is pretty typical for tattoo artists because during wartime, business was booming. When it was peacetime, you know, there was more sign business to be done than tattoo business. And that changed probably in recent decades. But the ironic thing is that in 1967, tattooing was banned in Milwaukee, and it wasn't made legal again until the 1990s. And I think anytime you do that, you know, there's an increased interest in something, right?
Of course,
it's like
it becomes the
prohibition.
underground. Yes,
it's the
exactly.
underground thing. So he retired in 1967. He was in his 70s at that point, and hung it up. But you know, for decades, he was the main tattoo artist in the Midwest, one of the best known in the country. And we've got some of the equipment that he had in his shop. And then we also have some of the paintings that he made. This is a person who couldn't sit still and who was always creating. So when he was at home, he was making paintings, or he was like painting the kitchen cupboards, you know, in sort of Nordic designs. He came from Scandinavia, Norway, and so he could never sit still. So we try to give a little bit of a glimpse into his life, and we've got these great historic photographs.
Well, thank you so much for all of your
pleasure.
information, and hopefully everyone can come down and check out the Dietzel exhibit before it closes in October. So now that you've seen some of Dietzel's work, you can kind of see that not all of it is just for decoration. And coming on the merchant ships from Norway, he has definitely learned through working with circus acts and also the sailors that every tattoo isn't always just for decoration. Speaking of tattoos that aren't just for decoration, the one that means the most to me on my body would be the one that is from Sailor Jerry based. Sailor Jerry has been known for the Sparrow with the heart and then the banner. Dietzel also does birds. He does sparrows as well, but just in comparison so you can see. This is a piece of Dietzel's artwork compared to the one that means the most to me. Sailors often did birds because it reminded them of home. When you saw a bird, it reminded you of land, and that's where your heart and your family was. Ergo, my mom's name with a heart and a bird. So boys, what do you have for tattoos? What's your favorite tattoo, Jim?
Well, I'm not gonna strip on camera because I really can't show my favorite.
That kind of show.
Yeah. It's actually
It could be.
I have a full back tattoo, but right now I'm actually gonna go with my Tree of Life. I got it 2 years ago, and it's probably my second most favorite tattoo. David, what about you?
I have 5, but this is my favorite. I was looking for a symbol that I saw on an album cover, and it is the insignia that Michelangelo carved on the base of his sculptures, including the David. So I thought it was pretty appropriate.
Very appropriate. What about you, Klein? What's your favorite tattoo?
Well, I'm still waiting for Jim to strip. But, I don't have any, but I'm a big fan of your little Band-Aid there. It's super cute.
Thank you, because I am a huge klutz, so that is why I have a Band-Aid tattoo.
And since the exhibit at the Milwaukee Art Museum has been extended through October 13th, you guys can win a pair of tickets for free. Be our nerd girl or guy of the week by sending us a pic of yourself to us at contact@thenerdshow.tv or post one to our Facebook page. One lucky guy and girl will get a pair of tickets to the exhibit at the Milwaukee Art Museum running through October 13th. And here's our nerd girl, Carolyn.
Doctor Who fan.
Yeah,
Definitely.
fun time.
And our nerd guy, Dusty.
Whoa, that's a foam suit.
Yeah. Muscles on
his,
muscles.
I like his horn.
Of course you do.
Now it's time for our Click This Not That segment, and if you can't get this next ditty out of your head, you can blame Lynn down at 42 Lounge, because she's the person that suggested it to us. So here at the Nerd Show, we like to say, click this, not that.
Dog goes woof, cat goes meow, bird goes tweet, and mouse goes squeak. Cow goes moo, frog goes croak, and the elephant goes toot. Ducks say quack, and fish go blub, and the seal goes ow, ow, ow. But there's one sound that no one knows. What does the fox say? What the fox say? What the fox say?
I'm not getting that on my foxing head.
Thanks to Lynn for introducing it to us.
Well, next week is premiere week, at least on television, and a lot of things are coming out new for nerds. The new film, The Colony, releases this Friday the 20th. Starring Lawrence Fishburne and Bill Paxton, the movie shows how, when the world changes, the rules of survival change with it. It's an end-of-the-world tale that looks a little closer to what might really happen when the next ice age comes, and the human race turns on each other. On a TV near you, Fox brings you the season premiere of Bones on Monday, and that same night we find out how Fox will make a series out of the legend of Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow.
Put the weapon down! Put your hands on your head!
So the neat thing about Sleepy Hollow is, I was thinking like, okay, it's kind of a one-story thing, its head's off and you're done with it. And this isn't a spoiler, because this was in the trailer that I saw. The Headless Horseman is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Oh, clever.
So he's death. So I think that's going to be interesting, how they make it into like a serial kind of, story of who he's after and how they're going to get him. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll watch it, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely on my watch list.
The new Grand Theft Auto 5 is coming out pretty soon. I've got a line on an advanced copy. I'm going to give David a call, see if he can give me a ride. Hey, David, what's up?
Hey, passenger door's open. What you doing?
Hey, nice car.
Hey, what the dude? You!
I just robbed a hooker and ran over a cop, so I gotta make this kind of quick. But let's talk about some Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm really psyched for this game.
And you're plainly addicted to chaos.
Well, I'm not sure that's true, Doc.
You're gonna be able to control a multitude of characters.
I'm rich, I'm miserable. I'm pretty average for this town.
In the first several iterations of the series, you're following one guy. This one, you're following a group of guys, and at any time in the game, you'll be able to switch between them.
You ain't got no respect. I got respect for reality.
With the press of a button. When you're not controlling one of the characters, they're going to go through their daily life, and when you come to them, you'll be able to see what they were doing.
New in town, I'm making friends, all right? A lot of friends. I mean, things could get really messy.
It really is going to shine in the heist scenes where you're controlling the group, and you're going to be able to have different roles assigned to the different guys. You're going to be able to pull off some really amazing heists while you're in control of this group. Folks will be able to have one guy guard doors, another guy stick people up, that sort of thing.
I think you need a new therapist.
I'm also looking forward to seeing what they do with the soundtrack in this game.
The officer, give it up!
Grand Theft Auto games are world-renowned for having the best soundtracks of just about any video game series. Ah, crap, I think the cops are onto me. Let's get out of here. Oh, roadblock! As you can see, I didn't quite make it, so it looks like I'm going to have to wait till the 17th to get my copy of Grand Theft Auto 4. I'm going to be at a midnight.
Yeah, and thanks for taking my car.
Oh, I know. It was fun.
Ass.
It's in a ditch somewhere. Real nice one, though. Well, if you like Grand Theft Auto, you might also enjoy Saints Row 4, which just recently released. It's a similar type of game in that it's an open-world crime game, but whereas Grand Theft Auto has gone more cinematic and satirical over the years, getting a bit more realistic, Saints Row has gotten loonier with each entry, and the fourth one is just over the top. The plot is, you have become the President of the United States, and in the opening scene of the game, you get abducted by aliens and put into a computer simulation like the Matrix. As you go through the game, your friends are going to hack the game, and you're going to get superpowers. So you'll be able to run at super speeds, jump over tall buildings, you can kick a guy in the crotch and he'll fly up a couple of stories. You can throw ice block. Oh, no. Only when you're angry. It's totally over the top. I love the soundtrack on this thing. It is such a love letter to the 80s and 90s on a couple of the stations. I was playing through this, and Stan Bush's The Touch from the original Transformers movie back in the 80s was on there, and I had a blast, and nothing gets the blood pumping like Outcast's Bombs Over Baghdad. It's got a neat feature in the options menu where you can actually set up a mixtape. You can go through all the radio stations and set up your own playlist so that you are only hearing the songs you're actually enjoying.
Just like the 80s and 90s, your own mixtape.
That's right.
That's cool. I've played all the GTA. I mean, going back to PS1 with the original Grand Theft Auto.
I remember.
I've never played at Saints Row, but I remember, the third one looked really fun and goofy, so I might have to actually go pick this one up.
Yeah, definitely worth a look-see. If you're into comic books, if you like The Matrix, this is a love letter to superheroes and The Matrix. It's a fun time.
The Nerd Show TV is the official media sponsor of the Bayview Zombie Apocalypse Charity Pub Crawl Saturday, September 28th from 2 to 6 p.m. And we want you to join us. Just go to our website for more info and get your tickets. But hurry if you want to get a cool zombie t-shirt. All of us will be down there and a bunch of other nerds too.
And to get ready, last week we showed you how to do your zombie makeup with the zombie queen of Milwaukee, Dawn Emanuele. We went back to her to see how to put together a great zombie costume to get that truly undead look from your duds. All right, folks, we're back with zombie queen Dawn Emanuele, and today we're talking about zombie costumes. This is not mine, but it is yours.
Yes.
And I'm gonna guess the first tip you've got for us is go thrift shopping.
Or find any old ratty clothing, I mean, you also don't have to pick something from this time period. You can get creative and go any time period in the past too.
Cool. So what do you do to kind of make things look like you're dead?
So what I did was I not only used just, you know, my trusty scissors, but I also used a acrylic brush.
Okay.
What's nice about this is it's got the stiff metal bristles on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so be careful when you use it. But what it does is it pulls and drags the material with it, so you get that really scraped up look.
Almost like it's torn.
Right, and you don't have to make it perfectly even all over the place. A lot of people make that mistake too. So what I did for the coloring.
Yeah, so this is dirt, right?
Right, this is not dirt, because if I wanted dirt on it, I would be able to wash it out, potentially. But I have had costumes where you couldn't get dirt on it, or that I've used over and over again. So I actually use just cheap spray paint.
And that's matte spray paint, right?
Yes,
okay.
Definitely matte. Because if you use, now this one says glossy wood tone, but that's because it's going to give a sheer look to it.
Okay.
And you can use this glossy wood tone on props that you want to make look really old and dirty.
So how do you get this effect?
So what's cool is you can take your material, and instead of just spraying so you have lines, you actually just scrunch up the material into a ball. So if anyone has done any kind of tie-dye or anything like that, and then just lightly spray it on. And voila.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Kind of a random pattern then.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I did that camouflage look. Then, up here, to give it a little bit more texture, they make some products that look like sand or stone when you spray it onto your material. So I just, once again, lightly sprayed that all over.
Okay, one other thing I want to ask you real quick. What about blood? I see a little bit of blood here.
Okay.
What's the best thing to use for blood if you want to go that route?
Well, you can, if you're only going to use the costume that night, if you plan on not touching anyone, you can use the same blood that you use on your face. If you plan on washing that costume ever, it will just stain your costume pink. That's all it will do. But if you want something that you can reuse over and over again, or you can have on your hands or on your arms, I don't ever recommend it for your face, but acrylic paint.
Gotcha. And that's what this is right here?
Mm-hmm. That's acrylic paint on there. And what's nice about that is the fact that you can touch things and it's not like makeup where it would come off, or it wouldn't come off on other people, but it's too harsh for your face.
Great. Thanks, Dawn. I look forward to putting together my costume for the zombie pub crawl that's coming up.
That was pretty cool. I'm definitely going to be putting together a costume for the pub crawl. What about you guys?
Yeah, I, those are great tips. I would have just taken like a brick of charcoal or something and threw it on my clothes and called it a day. But
exactly.
Now I know how to just tie-dye real quick and simple.
And Dawn is one of the most creative people I've ever met. So for her to be able to do that for us and show us exactly how to do it, and for inexpensive too, I mean, that's great. I personally am not as creative as Dawn, so I plan to get my face done for the pub crawl so I can still look really good and maybe not quite take all the credit.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I think I'd make it look pretty bad.
I'm using her tips and I'm doing my own makeup.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do a whole lot of makeup. I'm definitely going to put together some sort of costume, but we'll see.
And we'll see you down at the Zombie Pub Crawl. Thanks for joining us.